Rachel, welcome to Halloween Daily. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Matt. Nice to meet you.
It's great to meet you virtually. I'm a big fan. I've enjoyed watching you in just so many cool projects over the years. And we're here today talking about The Inheritance, a cool new horror movie coming out this week. Um, when you first read this script, what was it about this character that really jumped out at you and spoke to you loudest?
I mean, we've all seen Succession. Come on. I get to play the kind of bitchy older sister, and I loved it. And I just, yeah, that was initially my first reaction was, ooh, yes. And it was well written, it was intriguing, but yeah, the character was this sort of perfect ideal of something I wanted to do, being the very powerful, runs the family business, cold eyes, cold heart, not married, you know, bitch. It's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And you do a great job in this role. And it is a little different than some of the characters that you might be most well known for. She's like you said, she's definitely hard edged and very business minded. And does that and you kind of answered that you loved it. I was going to ask, does that excite you when you're approaching a character that's a little more far removed from what you play normally and who you are in real life, or do you find it more comforting to stay in those that are closer to home?
Oh no, I like to play something different as I can. I mean, right now I have to apologize. My backdrop, I'm in a hotel room in Kansas City. I'm filming a movie here. So yes, that pink thing you see in the back there, that holds my mouth guard. That's how sexy I am off screen. And the thing plugged into my wall is actually something I put in my mouth for teeth whitening at night. But yes, I'm currently playing a kid sister. I mean, I'm 44. I'm not really a kid, but I am playing a kid sister in this movie, and I loved playing, an older kind of bitchy, judgy character in The Inheritance. I would play different characters all the time if I could. I mean, I just love playing something different. I would actually shy away from playing something close to home. I prefer to stretch and do something new and different and learn new things.
Well, that's what I was kind of getting at, that you do prefer to kind of stretch and play people far removed, not just from the characters you played, but from your real life, and that makes sense to me. That you get to explore that, and of course, um, you're also you've worked on some big budget, major franchises in your career, and I was wondering though, when you work on something like this, it's much more intimate, much more smaller scale. What is something that you as a performer now kind of might prefer on something this scale as opposed to those major big budget IPs?
Well, first of all, shooting The Inheritance, that'll always be in a different realm for me because it was 2021. We were in deep COVID. We still had to do 2 solid weeks in Vancouver in what I call solitary confinement, in quarantine. You're in a hotel room. They were very nice suites. We had kitchens and stuff, but we couldn't go out for 2 weeks. And that was crazy. But we started between the whole cast, we were on the same side of the building and we all had these little balconies. And we learned about it through this sort of grapevine of us all learning, texting each other. And we would go out and each bring, a glass of wine out and stand on our balconies and sort of yell at each other across balconies for the 2 weeks that we were in quarantine. And so we all got really close without ever actually shaking a hand or giving a hug or a kiss on the cheek or anything like that. So that really set my experience on The Inheritance completely apart. And look, I've done the big things, I've done the teeny tiny itty bitty little things, and then this sort of medium size. I don't know. I think when you do a film this size, everybody wants to be there. And when you do the teeny tiny films, everybody wants to be there. When you do a film like The Inheritance, everybody wants to be there. Again, pandemic, we were all so grateful to be working. It was such a happy set. And, Alejandro is incredible, and he's such a lovely, lovely guy, and never lost his cool and never lost his sense of humor. And there were some hurdles to be done because you're shooting during the height of COVID, per se. But it's always, for me, the thing that makes an experience working on a film or a TV show a great experience is when the cast get along, we hang out outside of work, we want to have fun with each other. And when we were all able to finally sort of say hi in person, that's one of the most memorable experiences of shooting that film, after having yelled across balconies, which I'm sure was to the ire of everybody else in the hotel that was not part of our movie. But yeah, to finally meet everybody, everybody wanted to be there. We were all just so excited. We're making a movie, and yeah, we're wearing masks and visors, and we have a lot of rules and protocols, but it was really special because everybody really wanted to be there.
And it was probably, I guess, for most of you guys, the first time you were making a movie since everything kind of stopped for a little while, even though it was still under those conditions.
Yeah, I mean, I had never been in quarantine before, and I had never had COVID up until then, and I didn't get it until years later, of course. And we all had to be, vaccinated, and I think a booster had come out at that point, or maybe it was a second, but it was just a very different situation. And finally, you're on set. We were shooting on Victoria Island in British Columbia, which is incredible, and it was very enclosed group, and but we were able to sort of roam around the island. It was a little more protected, but we were still taking COVID tests, every other day. I mean, it was part of the routine at that point. But all of us, cast and crew alike, were just so happy to be on set, working, making something cool, because we hadn't had the opportunity to do that in over a year.
Yeah. Well, for our last minute or two here before we let you go, if you'll indulge us, as you can see, every day is Halloween for us. What is Halloween for you? Do you celebrate and look forward to it like we do? And do you have warm memories growing up like we do? What is Halloween in your life?
I hate to disappoint, but I also refuse to lie. Since I get to play somebody else for every job I do, I'm not a real dresser-upper. I do love handing out candy. That's one of my favorite things, because I love to talk to little kids about their costumes. And they're so cute in our neighborhood, and they get dressed up. We don't have a ton. We don't have a lot of kids, but I love to see them. And last year we weren't home, but we left a big bowl, and we put a sign out that says, there are cameras everywhere. So just please take 1 or 2 pieces. And there's a kid that came up at the end of the night, and every other child had been so polite, took 1 or 2 pieces, and they waved at the camera and said thank you and happy Halloween. And this one kid came up at the end of the night, sort of did a look here, took the bowl, dumped it into the whole remaining part of the bowl, dumped it into his bag, and took off. And my husband and I just said, because we were away but watching on the camera, we went, okay, well, Halloween's over at our house, no candy left, who cares? At least we didn't have any left that we were expected to eat on our own, so we were fine with it. I will say, though, I love scary movies. And this is probably going to creep some people out. I love watching scary movies all by myself. I love to get creeped out. I grew up in what is now probably a 300-year-old farmhouse in Maine. It had all the creaks and the wibbles and the wobbles and all of that. And I loved watching scary movies by myself. I love being scared. I don't know what it is. It's probably a disorder. I should have it checked out. But that's Halloween to me, is getting to watch the creepiest, crawliest, like, oof. That is my favorite part of Halloween. So I'm sorry I don't like get super into dressing up or anything crazy like that. But I love the kids. I love the costumes of the kids. And then I like to be scared by myself in my bedroom at night.
And yeah, love the horror. And that was going to be another question I wanted to ask if you were a horror fan, and you just answered it. So that's
a huge horror fan. When anybody says, and I'm a horror, psychological thriller fan, because my favorite movie of all time is Silence of the Lambs, of all time. And very few people can say their favorite movie of all time. That is my favorite movie of all time. But I'm a huge horror fan because I love to be scared. I love to be on the edge of my seat. I love when I jump, when I freak out. I love when the hair stands up on my arms. I dig all of that. And I don't know, there's something that I'm totally, totally driven to about that. And so, yeah, I'm a big fan.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I love hearing all that. And again, if you're not big on dressing up on Halloween and the candy, at least you're giving some to the kids. You're allowing and you're appreciating theirs, and you have your own Halloween traditions, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like you say, Halloween, and we've talked to a lot of performers that every day is Halloween for them. Like you said, you get to play dress up all the time on some of these films, so we understand that you're living the every day is Halloween lifestyle anyway.
I mean, there is going to become a point in time, but I also don't want to fear legal retribution. But I think it would be so fun to leave the bowl in front of the house and have the same sign, but then be inside, say we're not there, but then talk through the cameras.
Yeah, have like a mic hooked up or something. Yeah.
Well, our cameras, the Nest camera, you can actually, so you're looking at it on your phone, you're seeing your front door, and you can hit the microphone, you can speak to the person. It doesn't matter where you are. But I'm saying Michael and I should just stay in, order pizza, turn all the lights off, keep the bowl out front, and then start freaking kids out. Nobody's coming to my house ever again.
That some won't come back, but some it'll become their favorite house every year. That yours will be the must go to get spooked.
I would like that to happen because I do come from the great state of Maine, the land of Stephen King, as you know. Nice. And before he got Stephen King famous, massive, he used to have a haunted house. I never got to go because I was a little too young. My parents basically said, you're not driving to Bangor or wherever it was. But yeah, I want to be the favorite house on the block because I scare the crap out of children. That sounds terrible. I don't have children of my own, so I guess I can say something like that.
Hey, that works. That works. Yeah, somebody's got to fill that role in the neighborhood on that street. Absolutely.
I mean, I think it should be me. I should just start dressing up as characters that I've played in the past that these young kids won't know because they're too young, and I'll just have a laugh at it if I turn up totally green or in my scarlet super suit or something like that. Or yeah, I could do it.
You should. Absolutely. Absolutely. And the parents will get a kick out of it. They're going to recognize it right away. It'd be awesome.
Except then they know where I live. So let's hope there aren't any super fans. That might get weird.
Yeah, well, they might be a super fan and not even know who they're talking to. That's another great thing about Halloween. You never know. They'll just think that is an amazing costume that you put together.
I'll be like, oh yeah, I took it from set when I was wearing it. Cool. Oh yeah, no, this is totally, I just made it myself. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Rachel, again, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today. The Inheritance is out July 12th. It's awesome. You're awesome in it. This has been a blast, and I really appreciate you talking to us and indulging us with our Halloween conversation that we always like to end with. And instead of saying goodbye,
I want to tell you, your interview is going to be special because as soon as I'm off with you, I'm going to remove my mouth guard and my teeth whitening stand away, and I'm going to straighten out the bed a little bit. So your listeners are getting prime time with the unattractive, not very sexy things I do at night.
We've got the exclusive. I love it. I appreciate that too. Awesome. Okay. Well, again, Rachel, this has been great. You're awesome. And instead of saying goodbye, since every day is Halloween for us, I just always like to wrap up by saying Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.